Welcome to the new YouTube channel. If you haven't already done it, hit the subscribe button to follow us all season long for updates and content. So happy that you're here. It's going to be a great year.
Richard, a team that's gotten a lot wrong over the last year is the Carolina Panthers, and it seemed to hit rock bottom now out in Carolina. David Tepper forced the hand of this team to draft Bryce Young. He mortgaged their future and traded first-round picks, DJ Moore, multiple first-round picks, second-round picks. I mean, the amount of assets that were given up for Bryce Young, who looks nothing short of beyond mediocre in this league at this point, it's come to the point where you almost feel bad for the guy. Richard, there are reports that Frank Reich was pushing and pounding the table for CJ Stroud, and the rumor is that David Tepper overruled him on that. Richard, what are your thoughts about Bryce Young getting benched? Because I don't know if there's a more poorly managed team in all professional sports than the Carolina Panthers right now.
Well, I'm sure CJ Stroud is, on his knees with his hands together, praying to God and thanking him that he dodged that bullet, Mitchell, because that could be a career changer. We could be talking about a whole different CJ Stroud. We could be talking about a whole different player, a whole different career trajectory like we are, because they weren't a very talented team when Bryce Young got there. Not that, it's all the team's fault and it's all the O-line or the receivers, because the receivers are getting open schematically. They're open players. You can look at the tape, the all 22, they're drawing it up where guys are open. He's still our receivers in the National Football League, and they can make some plays. Adam Thielen, it was a viral clip showing his frustration last week when he was open on an over route and he had a step, and that's all you get in this league is about a step, Mitchell. The windows aren't very big, so you don't need a ton of room. You're accurate quarterback, put the ball where it's supposed to be. He'll run and he'll do what he's paid to do. I think this is the right move. There were times that when Bryce Young got injured last season, that Andy Dalton had to step in, and he played well. The Red Rifle, as they called him in Cincinnati, Mitchell, can still sling the ball around the yard, and he does it at a high tilt, and he will get the most out of this offense. That's what people don't get about the NFL. Like Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is a great study in how development and just getting in the right situation, pushing the reset button, being able to go back out there, and he's in a good spot with Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota. Just had a big win against the San Francisco 49ers, a team that, helped him get to where he is. And now he's got a different confidence. Now he's walking out. He walked into MetLife and got a win. I know Jet fans was like, it's suspicious. But at the same time, when you give veteran quarterbacks who really have played the game at a high level, and you can say what you want about Andy Dalton, but in his heyday, he did have some really, really good years where he played at a high level. He and AJ Green had some really good years, and they had Sanu, and they were moving the football. But he's going to get the most out of his offense. You're going to look at this offense and you're going to say, oh, why haven't they been doing this the whole time? Because sometimes you just don't get the opportunity. It was weird Tua's rookie year when the Miami Dolphins set Ryan Fitzpatrick on the bench after like a 400-yard game and played Tua Tagovailoa, and he had like less than 100 yards for 2 or 3 games, and they won the game against the Rams. It's just weird what these teams do sometimes, but this is the opposite. It seems like, hey, David Canales and his offense and these coordinators are like, hey, we're not saying he's a bust. We're not saying that he can't do the job. We're saying he needs to sit. He needs time to develop, and we're not helping him. We're not doing him any favors by continuing to put him out there and plummeting his confidence. So what we need to do is allow him to watch a quarterback run this offense, prepare each week, and really learn and develop as a player so that when we get him a chance out there, that his actual talent can be showcased, because it's not being showcased right now, Mitchell. He didn't get a chance to develop. And I don't care if you pick number 2, number 1, wherever you're picked in a draft. Like, you still shouldn't be forced. And Tom Brady said it as well as anybody. And if you're not listening to me, that's fine. You better listen to Tom. If you're not listening to the GOAT, then you probably just don't need to be around this game or hearing about it, or because that's the truth. You need to develop. It's a very tough league to come in when you've never been here. You've never been able to do this job. You did it in college, but that's a whole different game. And now you're in the NFL. You're doing your best, and it's not good enough. And you have nobody to look at. You have nobody to ask questions, to bank ideas off of. All the pressure's on you. Your own social media, they're talking bad about you every single week. They're saying all is lost, and they don't expect your team to win a game. So I'm thankful for Bryce Young to get a chance to sit back and watch a veteran quarterback who's going to have a really good command of this offense. And now teams better be a little bit more wary of the Carolina Panthers than they would have been earlier in the season, because now you got a veteran quarterback. They can't sneak up on you. Now, this is still an NFL team, and they got an NFL quarterback. Be careful.
Richard, changing gears again here. The Kansas City Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champions, escape in the nail biter yesterday against Cincinnati Bengals. And today we find out Isiah Pacheco is going to be out 6 to 8 weeks with a fractured fibula, I believe is the injury. Richard, he's going to be on the IR. He's expected to return this season, but this is a team that was really leaning on Isiah Pacheco coming into the season. You talked about it. Jerick McKinnon is no longer in the fold over there. They're left with undrafted rookie Carson Steele and Samaje Perine as their two running backs right now, with Clyde Edwards-Helaire at some point coming back. And we just got news that they brought in Kareem Hunt for a visit. Richard, what's your level of concern for Kansas City without Isiah Pacheco at starting running back?
At 2, 3. Not that he's not an important piece, but Mitchell, they'll weather this storm without him. They'll do a good job. They don't have a crazy schedule. The Atlanta Falcons, that'll be a good game. Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman has these Chargers right where they need to be. They're running the football at a really high tilt. They got the Saints. Then they got a bye week. I think they can survive it. I'm sure Kareem Hunt is, he's going to come in and do what he does. I'm sure if they had to, Jet McKinnon might get a call and brought in to see if he's in shape. He's a guy that played some good football for him at times. Obviously, Father Time is undefeated. But if they just need a Band-Aid and somebody to get them through a couple games, they have options. And when you have Patrick Mahomes and you have Andy Reid calling the plays, Mitchell, I'm not going to say a running back is going to hold them back, Mitchell. I'm sorry. That's just not where they're going to be at. It sucks because Isiah Pacheco was having a really good season and is a really good player, really dynamic, fun to watch. So I hope he comes back healthy as fast as possible with speedy recovery, but I think they'll be fine.
Richard, I want to introduce a new segment here before we sign off. It's called Buy or Sell. I'm just going to throw a couple statements of fact at you, or opinion rather. You tell me whether you would buy or sell that. We'll start with the LA Chargers. They're 2-0. Jim Harbaugh has got this team playing with an entirely new identity. Gone is Keenan Allen and gone is Mike Williams. And now here is J.K. Dobbins, the revelation, toting the rock for 100-plus yards again this week. Richard, are you buying or selling the LA Chargers making the playoffs this year?
I'm buying that, Mitchell. I'm buying it, and I'm buying a lot of it. If you look at Jim Harbaugh's years in San Francisco, when he first got there, they were a muffed punt, fumbled punt away from making, what was that, the NFC Championship his first year. They made it to the NFC Champion. They made it to the Super Bowl his second year. They made it back to the NFC Championship to face our Seattle Seahawks in his third year. So this Chargers team was very talented. They were ridiculously underachieving for a long time. So it's not like he inherited a really bad team and didn't have any weapons. They have a ton of weapons on the defensive side. They got Khalil Mack coming off a career year. They got Joey Bosa on the other side. They got Derwin James in the secondary. They got the players. And so they got Asante Samuel Jr. at one corner. They got playmakers. They got Perriman at the linebacker spot. And so offensively, Jim Harbaugh lives by running the football. That's why he brought Greg Roman in, because they're going to run the football. And they've run it, and they've shown that J.K. Dobbins can really do it. And he's been a really great story the first 2 weeks of the season, just finding his home after all the injuries to do.